Sir?
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Obviously, this is the story, and it's beginning to go national. As the governor was in yesterday,
Yes.
visiting the family and visiting the victim, who was a corrections officer. The victim's name not being released.
That's
I'm
correct.
assuming
We are
that's
not releasing
protect
it at this
the
point in time.
the
Yes.
family. You don't know what you're dealing with here right now.
Still trying to figure out motive, and for that reason, that's why we're not releasing specific victim information.
First off, I'm hearing reports that that maybe the bomb was very sophisticated. What do we know about the making of this device?
Well, again, I don't want to go into specifics, but many are assuming that due to the amount of resources that were there for us to assist us, then we're probably dealing with something that we're very concerned with. So I'll kind of leave it at that.
Yeah.
But it was a truly a real strong response from federal law enforcement agencies. First off, first on the scene with the sheriff's office was the state police. Obviously, our partners. We handle all the areas outside the areas that have that don't have their own police departments. But upon our request, we did get a strong response from the ATF, who handles legitimate explosive investigations, and then the FBI, and also New York State Corrections Division of Corrections Services, because obviously the individual is an employee with state docs.
Yeah.
Again, we have nothing firm or nothing to say for sure that it is job related, but we are not leaving anything unturned. We want to treat it as though it could be. That's why we involve the prison officials. And like I said, right now what we want to do is be able to determine obviously who put this there. But first off, I think before we get to that point, we're going to have to figure out why. And it's scary because it's a very quiet neighborhood. Obviously, we don't deal with these things each and every day, and that's part of the reason we reached out for additional resources, because we want to have the experts in the field. The sheriff's office is the lead investigation, but like I said, we've been assisted by multiple agencies. We were at the scene about 11 and a half hours collecting evidence. So there was a substantial amount of area to cover. And anytime you deal with an explosive, the evidence that you do retrieve is obviously small in size due to the explosion. And we didn't want to miss anything. And in addition, the Utica Police Department, they have some state-of-the-art crime scene reconstruction equipment. And they were out there with us the entire day, too, to assist all the agencies.
Have you been able to interview the corrections officer? Is he able to be interviewed at this point? We know he's in critical condition.
Right. We have not. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. And the family, is there anyone that, and I'm sure some of these questions you just can't answer, but is there anyone saying that there might have been something going on whether it's friend, family, foe, that somebody might have had an axe to grind here?
Of course, at this stage, I can't get into that either. At some point in time, we'll certainly be able to answer all these questions. But due to the sensitivity of it and the complexity of it, and like I said, there's so many different agencies assisting us.
Yeah. How about? Is there anyone in these jails? Is there, what type of criminal are we looking at that was at the particular jail that this? That this corrections officer.
Again, we don't know if it's work related.
Right, I understand.
That's too broad of a question for me. I mean, obviously, there's people that are in state prison are convicted of whatever charges they were. And again, it's just a little too early to say whether it was work related or not. Everyone wants to assume that, but we don't know that for sure yet.
Is there anything to indicate whether or not this was an isolated incident, or whether there are other packages to be found?
The area was extensively searched that morning. We brought in not only our bomb dogs, but bomb dogs from the state police. Because that's one of the road was closed for an extended period of time for two reasons. First and foremost was to secure the area to make sure there were no other devices, and there were not. Secondly, obviously, was evidence collection. Yesterday, we did receive, and we've been encouraging people even before this incident, if you ever see anything suspicious, if you see something, say something.
Yeah.
So people certainly, their level of observing things heightens when these things happen, and we did get some calls yesterday of suspicious packages. One of them was at a post office in Vernon, and that was at the end of the day. That was nothing more than a package at the post office that shouldn't have been left there, but it was absolutely nothing explosive, nothing dangerous. But again, we secured the scene. Postal Service has a specific unit. They respond to incidents like that. We held it down until they got there. It was deemed safe. Package was taken care of, and that
How
was.
do they do that? Do they have to X-ray the package?
They do have specialized equipment.
Okay,
They're able
got
to
it.
do that with.
And for the purpose only of for other people that we keep saying, boy, if you see a suspicious package, report it. What is a suspicious package? What was this in particular that would have made this suspicious?
Well, this necessarily may have not been suspicious.
Okay.
Because you expect to see packages at your mailbox.
Right.
So again. It
That's
may not
the
have been
scary-
suspicious.
that's the scary-
We'll figure that
scary
out in the
part.
interview too.
Yeah.
But it could very well have been not a suspicious package to
Right.
the individual that picked it up. And then, like I
And
said,
UPS, any of the FedEx, any of these guys, they do deliver at odd hours.
and depending on the contents, they don't always need a signature.
Right.
And
Yeah.
depending on what they're delivering, it may not matter who it goes to. So, and again, in this particular case, like I said in my press conference, the individual, when he picked it up, as soon as he picked it up at the mailbox, that's when it detonated.
So, and what would you say, now keeping in mind how often, I'm just thinking about this now, how often we have packages delivered today. I'm seeing the UPS and the FedEx trucks up
Absolutely.
and down. It's with Amazon and with eBay and everything else. It's more, and even the post office, it's increased. So how often do we say, hey, to your kid, run out, there's a package, can you run out and grab it? All of a sudden, it's making you think maybe we should all really think twice here.
And I think, obviously, over the past few years, everything we've seen happen from 9/11 on, when, things that we never, ever, ever had to deal with before, I think we just have to change our lifestyles a little bit, So if you didn't order something and
that's what I was going to ask.
there, then maybe you ought to look into it.
A package that you don't know what it was, maybe we need to look at
And
it
again,
more
that's difficult
carefully.
too, especially
It is.
you live in suburban areas or city neighborhoods. Packages get delivered to the wrong homes all the time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
again, it's just it's one of those things where we want people to have that heightened level of concern, but at the same time, we can't live in fear forever either.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So it's one.
Are
of those,
you able to say whether this was mailed or dropped off, or do we not know, or do you not want to say?
I don't want to say at this point
Okay.
in time. Yeah. But it more than likely was dropped off. But,
Okay.
Yeah.
Not sent through the mail or sent through.
Right.
Okay, and then somebody's asking, and I do you have to look at the potential of terrorism for something like this?
Again, anytime we deal with anything, of this nature, we look at everything. Like I said, was it intended for this person? Was it intended for someone else? Was it work related? Was it not work related? So again, those are all things that hopefully in the next few days, since we completed our work at the crime scene, there's been a basically, I guess you could say, a task force. It's a group of investigators from all the involved agencies. They haven't stopped working. They've been interviewing neighbors. We received some phone calls, which led us into some other directions. So again, just trying to cover all bases.
And the area rural. So when you think about
Semi-rural, it's definitely in a rural township, but the homes are relatively close in this particular area.
And I hate to keep peppering you, but we just have
that's fine.
tons of questions here. When oftentimes we see these things happen, they happen at public places.
Mm-hmm.
So there are cameras, and there's usually some tape on the person. I'm assuming that's not the case here.
Again, I don't want to get into that, but
Yeah.
we are very fortunate. Whatever we deal with, I mean, folks have video just about everywhere now, and hopefully there is some in this area, but we'll see where it goes from there.
All right. And finally, one of the things that I think people should consider is in these types of things, we almost always deal with copycat. Obviously, this is a little more difficult because most people probably don't have the knowledge to create something like this. But I think that would, correct me if I'm wrong, it should make everyone really just be a little bit more careful and on standby right now.
Exactly. In yesterday's call to the post office, that was not that wasn't a prank call. It was someone who legitimately saw something that just didn't look right. Because, again, it's a holiday, and you see a package where there normally wouldn't be. But again, it is what it is. Whether it was post 9/11, I mean, I was working on the job then when that happened, and there were for weeks there were calls of suspicious people, and then the anthrax scare. It's just sometimes that happens, and again, what's ever thrown our way, we'll deal with it.
How is the CO?
He has improved slightly from where we were initially, but still in in serious condition.
All right. Terrible. Really
Definitely.
just terrible, and scares everyone, and I can't imagine what the family's going through.
Definitely.
All right. Sheriff Rob Maciol, thanks so much.
Thank you.
6:34. We'll keep you posted on what we learn on this, and I'm assuming that as the day goes on, more details might be coming out.
I hope so. And if we get anything substantial, we'll notify everybody of a press release or conference.
All right, quick break. 6:35 it is at WIBX.